Here beside me is the new Lexus GX 550, which shares the same platform as the new Toyota Prado, which now shares the same platform as the larger LandCruiser 300 series. So this is bigger all round. However, they don't share the same powertrain, and that might make all the difference. This week, my family and I have been testing out the flagship sports luxury grade to see just how plush this 7-seater SUV is and how it handles family life. So stay watching. There are 3 grade levels for the GX 550, and we're in the flagship sports luxury grade, which makes this a rival for other upper large SUVs like the Land Rover Defender and BMW X7. However, its price tag does position it as the most affordable option, and that's really great at the premium end of the market. However, it does sit $30K more expensive than the flagship Prado grade. So unless it's the badge and the engine that you're specifically after, you could save some cash if you still want this look. So what does the new GX 550 get? Well, let's first focus on what the sports luxury grade gets over its siblings. You enjoy 22-inch alloy wheels as well as a full-size spare wheel, a 21-speaker Mark Levinson sound system, digital rear-view mirror, leather-accented upholstery, massage function on the front seats, as well as a heated steering wheel, so not too bad. Other goodies include a 14-inch touchscreen multimedia system with satellite navigation and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have front seats with heat and ventilation functions and heated rear outboard seats, which is really cool, and 4-zone climate control. But the full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. Because the new GX 550 shares the same platform as the beastie Toyota LandCruiser 300 series, this feels rather massive now, and in fact my 5'6" height feels very dwarfed by it. I feel a bit ridiculous standing next to it. But it is deceptively narrow, which means it's still friendly shape in a shopping centre. And the big 22-inch alloys and the chunky styling does give off some boxy vibes, but everything's well proportioned. And because it lacks chrome in the grille and it's got these sharp LED lights on the outside, it more than holds its own against its European counterparts. Unfortunately, the cabin does bring you back down to earth a little bit because it's just not as plush as what I would expect from the brand. You don't sink into the seats. There's also a utilitarian military vibe going on with the vertical dashboard, sharp edges, and relatively small windscreen. For me, I still really like it. It works totally for me on a style level. It just doesn't look like it sits at the premium end of the market. There are some really cool design elements in this car, like the fixed panoramic sunroof. So even on a sunny day, you can adjust how much sunlight comes through it with turning it onto the opaque setting. And that means that you can leave your blind open if you want to, which I really like. I also quite like the automatic side steps, which activate when you open or close your door. But my favorite feature is definitely that you get a window in your tailgate that you can open separately. Perfect when you just want to quickly grab something or put something in the boot or pat your puppy. Despite being a massive car, it's actually pretty easy to get in and out of it because you've got big door apertures and those big and wide side steps, which is good. The seats are pretty comfortable in this row. You sit on top of them rather than in them, but with all the extra functions as well as the massage function, which goes from the back to the seat base, fatigue is all but minimal on a longer journey, which is really good. Individual storage is made up of a glove box, storage bins in the doors, and 2 cup holders, as well as a dedicated phone cradle. You also get a middle console, but kind of doubles as a mini fridge, and even when it's not on, it still feels quite cold. So I didn't actually use it this week, but it does fit up to 4 cans or bottles, which is really good if you're on a road trip with kids, because you can also fit some snacks in there. Charging options include 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt socket, and a wireless charging pad. Those options were more than enough for my husband and I this week, which was good, but I did find it difficult to keep my phone in the right position on the charging pad where it didn't disengage from charging. And it's pretty easy for it to do that when you hit a hill or go around a corner, and you won't realize it like I did until you're at the end of your trip. The 14-inch display is integrated into the dashboard and the touchscreen is quite responsive. This is a very simple system to use once you spend some time with it and get used to the layout. I liked how easy it was to set up the wireless Apple CarPlay and that you can access the rear climate control from this system too. The system has satellite navigation, and I like that the directions can get pulled through to the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster or the head-up display. I don't like though that the massage function for the seats is buried behind a few menus. I would have preferred a physical button for this. Access to the middle row is similar to the front, and while you might have to help younger kids in and out, my 8-year-old didn't struggle this week. There's plenty of room to be had back here too, which adults are going to be happy with, but the comfort of the bench seating isn't going to appeal to adults on a longer trip. Kids though are going to be fine back here, and you can fit 3 children easily side by side. Legroom and foot space is compromised a bit for the transmission tunnel, so there might be a few squabbles with who gets to sit where. I like that the backs of the front seats look durable for little feet. There's lots of amenities back here too, which my son really enjoyed. Retractable sun blinds, directional air vents, which are well mounted in the ceiling, as well as climate control and the heated rear outboard seats, which is cool. I like too that you get ISOFIX child seat mounts and 3 top tethers. The bench seat is wide enough, like I said, to accommodate 3 child seats, which is good. Other features include a couple of map pockets and USB-C ports, as well as cup holders in a fold-down armrest. And this armrest actually sits at a good height to be comfortable, which is good. Surprisingly, for this 3rd row, there's a lot of room for an adult to get relatively comfortable back here. You've got heaps of toe room, decent headroom for my 168 centimeter height. I still wouldn't want to be back here for a long journey just because I don't like a 3rd row personally, but it's okay. Kids are going to be more comfortable though, mainly because these seats are quite firm underneath the butt and quite short. But there's enough back here in terms of amenities that it doesn't feel like a forgotten row either. You get a couple of cup holders and USB-C ports, as well as directional air vents, which I always appreciate in a 3rd row. I really like that this 3rd row folds electrically and that there are so many buttons to do it from. You've got them on this side, that side, and in the boot, which is really cool. What I really like though is that when you do actually fold them down, they tuck away, so you get a flat boot space. This boot has some really good features like a 220-volt domestic plug port, a kick function powered tailgate, as well as a full-size spare wheel underneath, which is always handy. But it's the capacity that you're really going to love because it has 1,063 litres available when the 3rd row is stored, which is perfect if you do a really long road trip and you have lots of luggage, or if you have a big German Shepherd like I do. Isn't that right, Sam? All GX 550 grades share the same 3.5 litre V6 twin turbo petrol engine, which produces up to 260 kilowatts of power and 650 newton meters of torque. This 4-wheel drive has high and low range and a whole bunch of different drive modes to suit most occasions, but unlike the base sports grade, which has a brake towing capacity of 3.5 tons, this only has the capacity of 3,130 kilos, which might not suit all families who have big toys to tow. I didn't really have high hopes when it came to the fuel economy, not when the official combined fuel cycle figure is a hefty 12.3 litres per 100 kilometres. My real world usage has really surprised me this week though, because it's popped out at 11.8 litres. That's after doing mostly open road driving with some urban stuff mixed in. That's not terrible at all. And while I wouldn't call it super efficient, not when you're comparing it to its diesel powered counterparts, still pretty respectable. Now, just for our viewers out there, when I say real world, I do mean litres used and kilometres travelled. The GX 550 has a relatively small fuel tank at 80 litres compared to its cousins. And based on the official combined fuel cycle figure, you'll get a theoretical driving range of up to 650 kilometres. That's not great, to be honest, especially not for an SUV of this size, and also not good if you primarily do urban driving where the fuel usage is going to be a lot higher. Oh my goodness, this is a total masterclass on 4-wheel drive refinement. The power delivery is effortless and there's lots of power to be had. It's a very comfortable car to drive. You don't feel the bulk or weight of this SUV, which is pretty unusual at this size. The 10-speed automatic transmission shifts through its gears really smoothly, and it always feels like it's engaged in the right gear, which is also really good for such a hulking SUV. The handling of this SUV is also really good because the steering is quite responsive and you do get enough road feedback that you feel comfortable with what the car is doing from a driver's perspective. There is some rolling corners, but not as much as what you would expect. You can tackle a lot of them at speed, which is unusual for such a tall SUV. The high driving position makes me feel like I can really see all of the road and what's happening around me. Visibility on a whole is pretty good, although it can get compromised when you have the rear window shades up and the third row headrests up. But the digital rearview mirror at least helps with the latter. The overall comfort level is pretty high with forgiving suspension and just low cabin noise. You're not bothered by road or wind noise in this, even at higher speeds. And it's pretty easy to chat with all the rows, which is good. I live in a regional area where a lot of the roads are typical country roads that are pot-marked and heavily bandaged with different types of road surfaces. And I've got to say, this is awesome, no matter what road I've really driven it on. Gravel, dirt, asphalt, the big highways as well. It's just lovely all round. I mean, I can so imagine just taking this from Sydney to Melbourne. It would be such a good road trip. I was a little bit nervous with how this would go parking it in my local Westfield. But it's surprisingly super nimble and you're not going to have any trouble parking this because of the excellent 360-degree view camera system and lots of parking sensors. The new GX 550 hasn't been tested with ANCAP yet, but it does share the same platform as its cousin, the Toyota Prado, which received a 5-star rating from testing done in 2024, so I would expect a good result for this model too. It has a bunch of standard safety equipment as well as 9 airbags, which is really good to see on a family SUV. Some safety highlights include safe exit assist and emergency call functionality. From a driver's perspective, all the safety systems feel pretty well tuned. I liked the adaptive cruise control and that it has a special feature which will scan for bends in the road and slow you down in anticipation of them. That's not usually as well calibrated as what I like in other Lexus models I've sampled, but it was pretty good here. The full specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info on safety. Lexus offers the GX 550 with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is pretty standard when you compare it to its Euro rivals. You get a 5-year cap price servicing program for $5,950, but the servicing schedule is a bit of a bear at every 6 months or 10,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The new Lexus GX 550 Sports Luxury looks fantastic, and there's enough mod cons here to satisfy a family. It's just not as luxurious as what I would have expected from a premium brand. The fuel economy and driving range won't appeal to some, but if you're still interested, there's still lots here that will make you happy. And this has got to be one of the smoothest four-wheel drives that I've driven, which is why it gets the score that's on your screen now. But if you're after more details, check out my full written review at carsguide.com.au. I'll see you next week.